Hello viewers, welcome to our channel Career Prep. Non-verbal reasoning is one of the most important topics for government sector entrance exams, placement exams and other competitive exams. This type of reasoning tests your ability to analyze, understand and interpret the visual data and tackle problems using visual reasoning. The questions that are asked in different examinations are not easy to solve, and one cannot solve these problems without having a proper practice. But once you know the basic concepts behind the problems, you can solve them in least time. Before we begin, please subscribe to our channel. Also press the bell icon to get notifications as soon as we post a new video. So let's start. Let's now understand a few basic points about the nonverbal questions. The nonverbal questions test your ability to develop logic from certain abstract figures given in the question. To understand the pattern in the given figures, you should develop a systematic method of studying the given figures. Now, these questions consist of figures given in square boxes. The figures in each box are called elements, which can be identified by their position in the square box. Now in this square box, each element is referred to by its row and column. So this is the top row, this is the middle row and this is the bottom row. This is the left column, this is the middle column and this is the right column. So the sign at is referred to as bottom middle element, which means bottom row and middle column. The element triangle is referred to as the central element. The behavior of these elements with reference to their position is studied. Now in certain questions, each square box contains only one big element with certain smaller elements attached to it. The question may be based on any one of these patterns. Let's now learn about the types of questions that come under non-verbal reasoning. The questions can be classified into the following basic types: series, analogy, and classification. We'll study in detail about each of these types in the next few videos. Let's now learn about the pattern of behavior of the elements. In questions on series, analogy, and classification, the elements in the problem figures follow a certain pattern of behavior. The behavior of elements is nothing but the changes that take place in them. These changes are classified as follows: shift, rotation, image formation, change in the number of elements, change in the number of lines, substitution. Let's learn about each of these changes in detail. Now, understanding and identifying these changes in the elements in the problem figures is very essential if you have to solve problems on series, analogy, and classification. So, understand the concept clearly. Let's now learn in detail about shift, one of the patterns of behavior of the elements. Shift means change in position, that is, movement from one position to another. Shift is measured by the distance moved by the element with respect to its position in the immediate previous box. The unit of measurement is one side, which is equal to two spaces and is the distance between one corner of the box and its adjacent corner. Let's understand this with the help of an example. Now let's consider this box. Now from this corner to the adjacent corner, it is one side. Now if an element moves from this corner to this position, then the element is said to have shifted one space. And if the element moves from this position to this corner, then it is said to move, said to have shifted one space. So from one corner of a box to its adjacent corner, there are two spaces, which means one side is equal to two spaces. Now, in this example, when the positions of the elements are observed in each successive box, it will be clear that the plus sign shifts two spaces in the anti-clockwise direction and then shifts one space in the anti-clockwise direction in the successive boxes. So the plus sign shifts two spaces and one space anti-clockwise alternately. So in the next box, the plus sign has to shift two spaces and in the anti-clockwise direction. So the plus sign is in this place. In the next box, the plus sign has to shift one space in the anti-clockwise direction. So the plus sign is in this position. Now the equal sign shifts one space in the anti-clockwise direction and then two spaces in the anti-clockwise direction. So the equal sign shifts one space and then two spaces anti-clockwise alternately. So in the next box, the equal sign has to shift one space in the anti-clockwise direction. So it is in this position. In the next box, the equal sign has to shift two spaces in the anti-clockwise direction. So the equal sign is in this position. Hope you have understood the concept of shift. Let's now learn about rotation, another pattern of behavior of the elements. When an element changes the direction towards which it was pointing, the element is said to be rotated. The rotation may be in clockwise or anti-clockwise direction. Look at this example. Now in box A, the element is pointing towards the north. In box B, the element is pointing towards the northeast. That is, the element has rotated by 45 degrees in the clockwise direction. From box B to box C, the rotation is by 90 degrees. That is 45 degrees from this position to this position and another 45 degrees from this position to this position. So the rotation is by 90 degrees. Now from box C to box D, the rotation is by 135 degrees. That is from this position to this position 45 degrees, from here to here another 45 degrees, and from here to here another 45 degrees. That is the rotation is by 135 degrees. From box D to box E, the rotation is by 180 degrees. That is from here to here 45 degrees, from here to here another 45 degrees, from here to here another 45 degrees, and from here to here another 45 degrees. So the rotation is by 180 degrees. Thus the rotation is given in multiples of 45 degrees. Let's now learn about image formation, another pattern of behavior of the elements. Here, an element in a box is represented in the form of its image in the next box. This image could be mirror image or water image. Now look at this example. In this example, boxes B and D are the mirror images of the letter R in box A, that is lateral inversion. Lateral inversion is nothing but the left side of the figure appears on the right side and the right side of the figure appears on the left side in the mirror image. Box C is the water image of the letter R in box A. That's vertical inversion. Vertical inversion is nothing but the top becomes the bottom and the bottom becomes the top. This is vertical inversion which occurs in water image. So in this example, boxes B and D are the mirror images of the letter R in box A. Box C is the water image of the letter R in box A. Let's now learn about change in the number of elements, which is another pattern of behavior of the elements. Here the number of elements either increase or decrease from one box to the next one. Now look at this example. Here from one box to the next, the number of items are decreasing by 1. Let's now learn about the change in the number of lines and other pattern of behavior of the elements. Here the number of lines or sides of the figures either increase or decrease from one box to the next one. Look at this example. Here from one box to the next, the number of lines are increasing by 1. Let's now learn about substitution, another pattern of behavior of the elements. Here, one of the elements in the previous box is substituted by a new element in the next box. Look at this example. Here in box B, the top left element of box A is substituted by a new element. Now in box C, the top right element of box B is substituted by a new element. In box D, the central element of box C is substituted by a new element. Thus, every alternate element starting from the top left element is substituted in the next box. That is, first the top left element is substituted, next the top right element is substituted, and next the central element of the box is substituted. Viewers, the questions that are asked in different examinations are not easy to solve, and you cannot solve these problems without having a proper practice. Once you know the basic concepts behind the problems, you can solve them easily. So please do watch all our videos on non-verbal reasoning. If you have liked this video, please like, subscribe and share this video. Thank you.